So the A tattoo on my arm is actually partly inspired because I'm the 8th president and CEO of Johnson College, but it's also inspired by a line in a book. Just basically, it was about a band, David Mitchell book, and they have to make this huge decision about whether or not to kick out somebody like in the band. And the guitarist is all moody and staying quiet. So the lead singer finally turns to him and says, like, why are you being so quiet for? Like, what do you think? And he just like very, again, quietly says, he's like, I think we should wait 8 days. Wait 8 days, because 8 days gives the universe enough time to reshuffle the deck and deal you another hand.
It still hits, I don't miss it. It's go, 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 like a go, go flow. And I'm almost known, and I told you so. When I throw these flows like Rochambeau, and I ain't too close, it's Joe Smoke goes. And I'm on my grind, that is all the time. I do not do breaks, that's right, I stay in dry. And look, I'm back with a little bit of that, a little more cash than it came in with. Ready, that cat is out that bag, but I still ask you, the boy got skills. I don't need her, I don't need him, I don't need help with me, I got this. I can sing songs, I can spit raps, and I can do both, even do this, word.
This episode is brought to you by Sweat Tent, the pioneers of the portable wood-burning sauna. Did you know that using the sauna 3 to 4 times per week could reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 50% and make you 60% less likely to experience Alzheimer's disease? That's why I've been a big fan of the sauna for years. But having to go to a crowded gym to do it isn't ideal. And all the at-home options are bulky and expensive. That's why I only use the Sweat Tent for my sauna needs. It's the most storable and affordable wood-burning sauna on the market. It not only takes minutes to set up, but it can reach 200 degrees Fahrenheit in 30 minutes or less. So whether you're enjoying it yourself in your backyard, with friends, or in need of a reliable sauna on the go, Sweat Tent is your best choice for the most portable, storable, and enjoyable outdoor sauna experience. All On The Stacks listeners will receive $100 off when you use code OTS. Visit sweattent.com today to get $100 off your purchase with code OTS at checkout. Again, that's sweattent.com to get $100 off with code OTS. Sweat Tent, helping you fire up your home wellness routine. This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On The Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn. What's up, podcast? It's your host, Bill Corcoran Jr. here in the Blue Door Studio, protected by our friends at Ritchie Security Solutions. Dr. Katie Leonard, welcome to the On The Stacks podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here. You're super hip. You have the most hip shoes ever, by the way.
Thank you.
I always, that's like one of the first things I think I notice about people is their shoes.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to bring it,
You did.
I had to break out the Steve Maddens.
And you did, and you brought it.
Thank you.
And because I am a big, and I've said this before, there's been a lot of guests that wear wingtip shoes. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's a lot of cool kids wear.
It's our energy,
they wear the cool shoes.
That's right.
So I always just point that out. Like it was probably like 30 seconds in the door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at these things.
That's right.
So yeah, like what are they? They're like this tall.
Right. They're like 3 inches, block heel, black and white, Oxfords.
A two-tone,
wingtips,
right? Do we call it two-tone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the black and white two-tone.
Are you a big wingtip person?
Yeah, I like Oxfords in general.
Yeah.
I definitely like with the wingtips. Like the more design, the better. I don't like anything plain.
I know. I'm weird. So like as like you said, like I don't like things plain either, but sometimes I look at like a crazy shoe or sneaker sometimes and I'm like, I don't know if I could wear that. Like I love looking at them and being like, that is really cool, but I don't know if I could pull it off.
Yes, I think that too sometimes. I'm like, can I get away with that? I'll ask my daughter. She's 14 and I'm like, okay, you know how old mom is. Is this like, am I like pushing the
Okay, so you sent to her, you sent to her for approval first?
Yes.
Yeah. That's funny. Just do you have any other kids?
No, just
the one.
anymore. Yeah.
So she approves the dress code.
Oh, she approves everything.
Yeah.
She's
funny.
not the boss of me. Oh, wait. She is.
What's her name?
Sophie.
Sophie. Well, shout out to Sophie. Hopefully
Yes.
Sophie's listening or watching.
Yeah, so I'm sure she will.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to have you here. And
Thanks.
Yeah, there's a lot of very interesting things about you. Doug gave me all the blackmail that I'm gonna spew out right now.
Oh boy.
Kidding, of course. No, but there's just so much. Like you're a very interesting person, and I think a lot of people probably wouldn't expect from a college president, right? It's just you're down to earth. You're like right in tune. It's like you're like your finger like on the pulse. Right. That's just, I mean, from not knowing you as much, I mean, just, I could see that. I could feel that from everything you guys do. And it's just, I love that. I like that.
Thanks. And I feel like I get that from our students, that energy, I always want them to be comfortable. So, I know when to, wear the cool, like really cool, funky shoes and when to, play dress up for the board and different meetings like that.
Does anybody else compliment your shoes or is it just me?
Yeah, no, all the time. I get a lot of compliments on my shoes, my tattoos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You got all the tattoos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I have 7. 7 tattoos, planning number 8 and 9.
I think I saw a flame. Did I see a flame?
I do. I have a flame. Yeah, this is actually in honor of one of our alumni.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool story. I think everyone thinks I got it because I wanted to try to ride a motorcycle, which did not go well for me.
So, but you tried?
I did try.
Okay.
I did because I have a lot of friends that ride. So I'm like, well, I want to ride. Like, what if I want to be the cool kid? Did not go well for me. So I got a new bicycle instead, which went very well. So everyone thinks like the flames were for that, but actually, one of our very wonderful alumni who donated our first $1 million gift to the college. His name is Ideal T. Saldi, and I just built a relationship with him over time and got really close to him. I considered him like another grandfather to me, and he passed away like last October, almost a year or so. But he always said that I was the one who lit the fire under Johnson College. So when he passed away, I was like, I need to get a tattoo. That always makes me think of him.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah.
What did he do?
So he was a machinist. So the first 2 original programs at Johnson College were precision machining and carpentry and cabinet making. And it was like a big rivalry, like back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, there were like the greasers and like the woodies. And and to this day, like when our golden alumni come back, they share these great stories and the competition continues. So he was one of the greasers. So he was on the machining side. But he went on to develop some of the original technology that went into the original digital watch. So, and he ended up having like 18 patents and, went, on to work for a lot of different places. But he was just really smart, brilliant man. He used to tell this great story about, growing up in Jessup. And I think there was a train from Jessup into Scranton where, the college's campus has been. And he used to say that he couldn't afford even, the 5 cents for the train fare. And he just really built his entire career from the ground up. Amazing man.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What number tattoo was that? That's probably, is that your most recent?
It is my most recent. Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say, you said you had 7, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you're pretty hip.
Thanks.
You got the wingtip shoes.
Tell Sophie that.
Sophie, Sophie, listen, your mom is a really cool mom. She's a really cool mom. Yeah. So you're lucky. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really cool story. I mean, that is like, you are really like, you're into this. This is like, it's impressive to see like how, I really like to be in the room with people who really, really, really care about what they do. And I mean, getting a tattoo, I mean, that's pretty serious.
Yeah. To symbolize.
It is.
Yeah. When I'm into something, I'm all in. Like I have another tattoo. It's like of trees and stars and the moon. Because I'm a big hiker. I'm a big outdoors person. So it just kind of symbolizes, all of them kind of symbolize pieces of who I am and what I represent or try to represent.
I love that. Yeah. So I'm also the type of person, we talked a little bit about it a couple weeks ago when we were chatting on the phone, but I'm the same way. Like a lot of mine are all also there's like meanings, right? I was always the person who actually probably way back in the day, I was like, oh, I'm never getting a tattoo. You know, not that I bashed people that did. I was just like, it's just not really for me. And I'm just like, I don't know if I would, because I always said I'll never get one like unless it has like a meaning to it. That's just how I felt. Like, you know, there's a lot of people obviously that get them for just pure art. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
Right.
For me, I mean, yeah, it's art too, right? But at the same time, it's like, I want to have it to tell a story.
Right.
Like, I love that aspect of it.
Absolutely. And people say to me so often, oh, I would love to get a tattoo. I just don't know what to get. And it's permanent. And I'm like, give me 15 minutes. Tell me about yourself and I'll tell you what to get.
There you go.
I feel like it could be like a little business.
Yeah, tattoo consultant.
That's right.
There you go. Yeah, no.
I can't draw, but I'll help you come up with the concepts.
Yeah. And do you find it like addictive?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So I wasn't a big drinker. So when I turned 21 is actually when I got my first tattoo. Cause I didn't want to go out really. That kind of came later, but I wanted to do something like symbolic. And my college roommate at the time had said, well, haven't you always like talked about like wanting to get a tattoo? And I'm like, yeah. So I went and got my first tattoo when I turned 21. I figured I was in school. I was paying my own way. I was working. I thought I could do this. And I told my brother not to tell my mom. And of course he did.
Damn him.
I know.
He ratted.
And then my mom like freaked out, but, but it is, I couldn't wait to I was like hooked from that. On.
Yeah. I feel the same way, but also, I'm also like, how you said, like everyone says like, oh, I don't know what to get.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way until like it just comes to me. Like it just like hits you, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've had like a lot of ideas over the years. And, even I think it was last year, like I wanted to get a tattoo last year, but I didn't because I didn't know what to get. And I'm just like, I guess maybe I didn't put enough thought into it, but I'm just like, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? And I just like, I think maybe I was like trying too hard. And I was like,
overthinking it.
I need something like with a story, meaning to it. And it's like, not that I couldn't have found something, but I just like you said, like it's permanent, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I really want to make sure that whatever it is, like I'm gonna, you're stuck with it for the rest of your life.
That's
as cliche as that is, but it's true.
That's right.
So but yeah, so like I might like try to get one like every year.
I know. Well, and I was doing it for a while, like on my birthday, and then COVID happened, and then I played like a little bit of catch up. But yeah, once I'm sitting there getting like the next one, like I'm thinking of like the next one already and talking to my tattoo artist about it.
Yeah, because like you just like it's that feeling of like, oh yeah. Like, I need another one.
Right.
Like, did you like with yours, like, are you like creative, like in a sense that you draw them yourselves, or like you just kind of like find inspiration and say, hey, this is what I want?
Yeah, I find inspiration. I'll like go online and just Google and find pictures and give like the artist sort of like the liberty, like this is what I'm thinking, but you make it your own.
Yeah.
Because it's artwork too. It's so talented. It's something like I cannot do to see live.
No, me either. Me either. Not good. Like and yeah, you have to do that on somebody's body. Oh, yeah, I could never. I'm not that type of creative.
Right.
I'm more of like a concept type guy where I visualize. I think I can visualize like what I want, but I'm also this is the weird thing. I would say like I don't know what it is until I see it, but once I see it, then I'll know. And it's like, well, then where do you start? It's like, well, I just have to like once I find the right inspiration, then I can take it and give it to somebody who's good at doing that. Say in the graphic design world, and just have them put something together, and then it's like, okay, now I kind of know. Now I know what I want because I have like a version 1. Yeah. And it's like, then tweak it a little bit, and then poof.
I know, and it's so awesome. We have a tattoo convention here every year too, like in this area, and that's. I think I always like suggest to people too that if you're looking to get one and you don't know, just go and like walk around and like look. You'll get so many.
Which one
ideas.
is it? Is it the
Electric City?
Is that the one?
The tattoo convention in Scranton.
Yeah. I've never been to one.
It's fun. It's fun.
Like, what do they do?
So it's artists from all over. So there's a lot of local artists that are there, but they're all together in one room. So it's like an art show. I mean, it's really cool. Even if you don't want to get a tattoo, it's neat just to sort of interact with a different type of artist and see the work that they do. I mean, all of it is just phenomenal, but some just, the level of detail, and some, specialize in, Japanese art or, cartoon art. Like it's just
they
so
all have their
many
niche.
different. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you get a tattoo like right then and there? Like,
Yes,
do
you
some of them
can.
do that? Oh boy, I might be going to
I
this.
know, and actually, it was my goal like this year. But then, like my Sophie was with me, and I was like, okay, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But then I booked one like right after because I was so excited.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah, I love I guess like even for me too. I think a lot of people don't realize that they do have a creative side to them.
We all do.
We all do.
Yeah.
Like we all do, and it's you got to find something to bring that out. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people don't know. Like, because I've said it even about myself up until last couple of years. Like, I'm just like, I'm not creative. And people are like, Bill, like, look what you're doing.
Look what you do.
Like, look what you built. Like, look what you've done. And I'm just like, okay. Then I kind of start to be like, all right, I'm warming up to it. You know, I'm warming up to it. But
I get it.
Yeah. But like I've always said, like, I'm not that creative. But I think you just have to. There needs to be something to prompt you to, you know. Just because you can't draw doesn't mean you're not creative.
Right.
And I think that's what I was always hung up on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't draw, I don't paint. Like my wife can paint, she's really good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I look at stuff like that, and that's I think I appreciate any type of art. I don't even care if I don't like it.
Right.
And even music.
Oh, yeah. I'm the same
I know
way.
you're huge. I know you're like a rock star in the making. So I mean, but even music too. Like I could appreciate. I went to, you know, I'm not a Swiftie, but my wife is. You know, and a few years ago. Do you like Taylor Swift?
Well, Sophie does. I mean, I do too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to offend any of the Taylor Swift fans.
And now she's dating. What's the big news? She's dating. I gotta look it up because I don't want to misspeak. A football player, was it Travis Kelce?
Oh, okay.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, she was at the football game over the weekend.
Okay, so you saw it.
Yeah.
You saw this?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. I think. She was with his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the point of the story, okay, I got really off topic. Well, not same topic, but you know, my wife and I went to a Taylor Swift concert a few years back, and again, I don't like Taylor Swift. Not that I don't like her. I just I don't really listen to her music, right? Mm-hmm. Can appreciate the talent, right? But again, not my favorite music,
right?
But like I was so impressed at that concert. It was just like, and again, like I have such a great appreciation for not just whatever it is, whether it's music or even just a trade, like people that work in the trade, which obviously it's probably what you guys do, but like I just have such a great appreciation for people that are specialized in something, whatever it is, because everybody is good at something, and it's just like I know I can't do that stuff. Like the last time I tried to do some construction on my own home, I drilled a hole through my thumb. Real story. Like so I stay away from power tools now. But that's why I've
learned.
Yeah, and that's why I just have such a great appreciation for people that have mastered those skills.
Yeah, and they're so focused. That's what I admire. Like, and again, I go back to our students and our alumni. I was never that person. Like, I was an English major in my undergraduate. Like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like a pretty good writer, and loved to read, and which made me a better writer. But I look at our students and I'm like, man, I wish I knew at that age, like how to just really like hone a craft and get really, really good at something. Because that's what they do, and they're incredible.
So you said you were English major.
Yes.
And you had no idea what you were going to do. What did you do?
Well, I originally wanted to manage rock bands. So that, growing up, on Long Island in New York, I thought, well, I'm going to go NYU and, major in English and then get the great internship at MTV. And then eventually I'll just like fall into like managing rock bands. And of course my parents were like, no, that's not going to happen. And I can't remember who was more, like my mom or my dad. Probably my mom, because
it was telling you no. There's always that one that's like, no way.
Right.
Right.
And then, like the good cop and the bad cop, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So then, I got this like postcard for this, York College in York, Pennsylvania. The only thing I really knew about York was that the band Live was from there. Didn't have a very nice song about York. I learned later, but went to York and just, again, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I majored in English, did a lot of writing, but I had two really great internships, one at the Chamber of Commerce down there and then one for a law firm, which is still their stock and leader. I was actually their first marketing coordinator. So talk about creative. So a lot of PR, marketing, that, became my background. And I did everything from their print to, just did like all the trade shows and all the networking events. And
so you got a great experience, right off the bat.
It was awesome. That's the great thing about, and like I ended up then living in New York, and that became my first job. And there is something to be said about being like, a big fish in like a small pond, because I got experiences in my 20s that I know going back to New York, I never would have had.
Right.
And I think in looking back, I'm like, man, all of that prepared me to be able to, put my hat in the ring to be, president and CEO.
Yeah. So all those experiences, like I'm also a firm believer in like everything happens for a reason, like, and experiences that you go through, good, bad, like it's all related to something that's going to come next.
Right.
I mean, I really
Yeah.
truly believe that. And, just been sort of, seeing that in my life, as of recently in the last couple months. And it's like, it opens more doors. And I think, you put yourself out there, whatever it is, whether it's personally, professionally, and you just try and you just do different things and you just, are willing to learn. And I think if people are willing to just, be humble enough to just try something new, be bad at it, and just be forever a student of the game, whatever the game is, right?
Yeah.
I think there's that will enable you to excel in whatever it is that you want to do, or it's going to get you to where you want to be.
Right. And it might not be like linear. I think sometimes people think, well, I need to go to point A to point B to point C. And then like, nope, sometimes you take that detour all the way to H just to come back to B, and it all,
Right.
Like you said, it's all interconnected. It all works together. So
Yeah, I was telling you about my newest tattoo, and it's upside down here because actually it's right reading
No,
that
it's
way,
right.
but
Yeah.
close enough. I mean, but just the arrow itself, is exactly what you said. The symbolism with that is, in life, personally, professionally, it doesn't matter. You could translate it however you want, but a lot of times you have to take that step back to propel yourself forward, and that's obviously the only way for an arrow to go forward is for it to be
Yeah.
pulled back, and it's
Right.
exactly what you just said.
yeah. And I did that. I experienced that in my own life. When I moved up to this area, I actually took a sort of, I don't want to say like a lower position, but I had been executive director at like 26 years old down in York. That was like the last position I had before I moved up here. I was executive director of their Main Street program, basically. Again, great experience. And then I moved up here and I became the coordinator of like grants and annual giving for Johnson College. And, it was, definitely a pay cut. And I felt maybe a step back in position, but I had never worked in higher ed before. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. And this is something I want to see if I can do full time. And then maybe there'll be more opportunities to get kind of back into marketing and PR, because that goes a lot of times hand in hand with fundraising and development. And that's, exactly what happened. So taking that chance then propelled me forward.
So what led you here?
So my ex-husband's from this area originally. So when we had gotten married, and when we were looking to start a family, we thought, well, it would definitely be good to be closer to at least one of our like sets of parents. So that's when we started looking up in this area.
Nice. And it just so happened to be where you're at.
I know. And then Johnson College was one of the first places I applied to, and one of the first interviews, and I'll never forget, I got a call like right after I accepted the job at Johnson College. I got a call from a different college that I had applied to, which was bigger, and I'll never forget, like, for a split second, like I thought about it, but I'm like, you know what, like, I don't know, there's something about this Johnson College that
So you almost thought about like switching gears, like at the last
like
second.
I'm like, oh, maybe I should go on this interview just to see. But I was like, you know what? I don't know. There's something about this Johnson College.
It felt right.
Yeah,
in your gut.
It did. Yeah. And then when I stepped on campus, I tell this story like all the time. I actually started. It was January. It was during an all college meeting. We were in our cafeteria at the time, and I remember meeting a lot of the faculty, and they were big jokesters, but yeah, it felt like coming home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew.
Just
I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to be here for a while.
Yeah, and here you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is a lot to be said about that too. Like having that, you just have that feeling, like that gut feeling. And
Yeah.
I'm also, I subscribe to that as well. It's like, sure, do we question things we're doing all the time? Every day.
Right.
Like every day, right? We all do. Even little decisions like, oh, should I have done that differently or that? Or even writing.
Yeah.
I feel like you can probably relate to it, me too, because I have a degree in PR. And, I'll consider myself a writer for what I do here with the show,
Sure.
even though we're on camera. But even writing, it's like, oh, I wish I would have wrote that way. Or like sometimes you're like, oh no, but this is it.
Yes.
And you're always changing something at the last minute. And then like the last minute, then it just gets like a little bit better.
Right. I know. And that, I mean, like anyone who's written like a dissertation knows, like you could work on that for years and it still not be how you think it should be.
I've never done that. That's like next level.
The word choice and just,
Yeah. So tell me about like your journey at Johnson College.
Sure. Yeah. So like I said, I started in 2007 in fundraising and development, and I had the opportunity to work on the capital campaign with my predecessor, Dr. Ann Popinski, who just became such a wonderful friend and mentor, and we still keep in touch. And she was amazing, and she just kept asking, if I wanted, like, going back to your point about learning, do you want to try this? Do you want to do this? And, I just said yes to every opportunity because why not? And I thought it was something new that I could learn. So eventually I, helped the college work through a lot of like major change. Like we did like a kind of longer term visioning process, our first strategic plan. We, had to change our entire way of delivering our education. So we transitioned from this, like what's called this mod like schedule to a more traditional semester schedule so we could get more flexibility for our students. We changed our accreditation. So any opportunity Dr. Ann asked me, if I was interested in leading, I said, sure, why? I'll try it. Why not? Continued with always like the fundraising and the marketing and PR. And then, a couple years ago, she told me she was getting ready to retire. She wanted to retire early. She thought I should put my name forward. I'll admit I was really intimidated. I didn't have my doctorate at the time. So just started working on all of that and put my name forward. And the board did a national search. I was the internal candidate and they selected me.
Wow. So did you feel like an underdog because you didn't have your PhD?
I did. I felt like an underdog for a lot of different reasons. I think sometimes people think, the internal candidate has the advantage, but it was a long process. And I think it was tough on everybody, because instantly when you put your name forward, like you stop sort of being who everybody knows you to be. And then you're the candidate, right? Like it's just, that's all you feel like people are treating you as and looking at you as. So it's really, it changed a lot of relationships, like over like the course of a year that the process was going on.
Yeah. I always find that so interesting because it's like, there's those moments of growth in your life, right? Especially professionally. And a lot of times when that happens, like you said, like people may think like, oh, now she's like there,
right? Or
he's over here now, or he took this job, or he's now doing that. It's like, oh, like he's like either too good or like, unfortunately sometimes like you outgrow people too.
Right.
And that's like the hard part with just life in general, right? Is like you're excelling and you're doing like what you want to do and you're trying and you're going for it and you're putting yourself out there. And unfortunately sometimes, other people around you may just be like, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. It's like, it's unfortunate sometimes when that happens, because it's like, but you have to, like, that's the only way to grow.
Yeah. And just in understanding that it's just part of life. I think that's hard. I think, my daughter's 14 and just helping her understand that, relationships, like, again, like you said, the relationships you have today, it may not be the relationships you have, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough lesson sometimes.
Yeah, especially as a teenager.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. We've all been there. But it's crazy. Like it is like, and you think, even as, and hopefully she's listening, but, even as a teenager, like things that are probably the end of the world to her now in a few years or even maybe 1 year, she's going to look back on it and she seems like, why was I even upset with that? I'm sure you probably tell her these words, right? But like, it's like, like that was nothing.
Right.
That was nothing. Then, as you get a little older and you experience more things, like, you're like, oh, why did I even bother with that? Why was I even doing that? It's like, and sometimes like I even look back at myself and I joke even sometimes with the podcast. It's like the podcast has grown so much over time that I always tell people like, oh, don't even go back and listen to like the like the first like batch of episodes. Like it's like I look back and it's like, oh, they're like cringeworthy. And I know that I'm harsh on myself, right?
We
we all are, to a degree. But it's like, even just in a few short years with how much you can grow with something. It's like when you really look back at like how far you've come, it's like, wow. And it's like, I can't even believe I got here. And it's like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing, especially as a teenager, like you're so caught up in, because nowadays I'm sure it's even harder with social media. I mean, I love social media, but obviously, people say like, mental health wise, isn't good for young people with all the pressure, right? And just, the attention of everybody being pulled in a million different directions. But, I do love social media. Obviously, everything I do is social media based, but at the same time, it's like it's a challenge it's a bigger challenge nowadays for younger kids like your daughter.
Yeah, it is. And I think, I always try to use myself as an example with her so that she understands, because sometimes we put our parents on this pedestal and like they don't do anything wrong and they're
all perfect, right?
Right. And especially too with social media, she sees like, my videos online and, everything that's going on at the college. It's like, well, Sophie, like it doesn't just happen. There's a lot behind that. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of people that I care about that help, and just to understand all of those layers, because it's so much more complex than I think people
100%. I say
stop
that
and think about.
Oh my God, I say that all the time. Everyone thinks that like somebody just shows up, like you just show up here,
Right.
we record, and all of a sudden the episode just comes out, and it's just like, oh my God, like it's all put together, like it just, it's like, no, nothing like that. By the way, can you give a shout out to Doug?
Oh, shout out to Doug, Senior Director of Marketing Communications at Johnson College. He's the best.
He is, and I'm grateful that Doug reached out to me, for this to happen. And this is a perfect example of all the behind the scenes things that happen in anyone's world, yours and mine. And it's like, this has been months in the making.
Right.
Like the first conversation I think I had with Doug, I don't even remember. It's been months. I'll just say it's been probably 2 months, and, so it's just all those things. It's like the planning and the behind the scenes and
and the importance of relationships too. I think, Doug knowing me so well, like we're a really strong team, and then knowing like, hey, this might be something that you think's really cool. I think they'd be interested. And just like the prep that you did, like the phone call, I mean, putting me at ease, like it's all about, like I try to bring that like back to students and to Sophie too. Like it really is, all like there's all the noise, but then at the end of the day, it's all about the relationships that you have with the people around you.
Definitely. And even like it's a perfect example of, going back to the tattoo.
Yes.
I mean, that was relationship based. I mean, that's a perfect example. I look what it yielded, right? Like it's, that whole story and that whole situation, like it's incredible.
Thanks.
And it's all, again, it's all relationship based. And it was just really cool when Doug reached out. And I think I got an email from him, and I like read it, and it was just really cool to see, like, not only he said he was a fan of the show, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, he's probably bullshitting, like right, but he wasn't, and I knew he wasn't, because he said things and that I knew that he actually listened or watched or whatever it was, like the things like he has said, and I'm like, oh no, this guy is actually paying attention, right? Like, so Doug needs a raise, by the way, and I get part of it. No,
duly noted.
No, but like, it was just really cool the way that all happened.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate people that are like in tune with this stuff and what's going on, and the ability to just connect with people. I mean, that's literally like all I do here, right? It's just connecting people and putting great people in the same room together, and just having a conversation.
Right.
And Doug is obviously a huge part of this conversation happening right now.
Right. Yeah.
And again, it's months in the making. By the time this episode comes out, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like a 4-month spread.
That's right.
I think a lot of people don't realize that about this stuff.
Yeah. And how much hard work goes into it. And I can't say enough about. And again, like it's kind of like the side of the house at Johnson College that I grew up in. But whether it's like fundraising or marketing and PR, those professionals don't get enough credit. The number of times that I hear like, all you do is like plan parties and events, and that's like, and to your point, like they have no idea how hard it is, and how then when you do an event, you don't even get to eat the good food. You don't get to enjoy it. You don't get to enjoy the music, or you're so focused on making sure everybody else has a good time. Yeah, it's like, so shout out to all of the fundraisers and marketing and PR people out there.
Yeah, because like literally, I tell everybody same thing with this, and I'm sure same applies in all those situations. Like 90% of the work is all behind the scenes.
Right.
This is right now, you and I sitting here, this is the 10%. This is like the 10% the only 10% that people see. And that's all that it is. Like this is the easiest part.
And it goes smooth because of the 90%.
Yeah, exactly. Before and after. And it's like, all that stuff. There's just so much that goes into into this, and I think preparation is key.
Yeah.
You know, I think,
always.
Being prepared and going into something with a game plan and a vision is like, if you don't have that, well,
what's the point?
Right. Yeah. You took, I was almost, I couldn't think of the right words. And it was like, perfect. Yeah. Yeah. But no, it's the truth. Like it's, having that plan and that vision and just executing on it too. Like I'm a big person and a big believer in like, what I say I'm going to do, I do.
Right.
And like you put that out in the universe, right? Like you just speak it.
I know. I'm a big one on like the power of the universe. If you speak it and you're not afraid to go for it, the universe will provide.
Yeah.
The universe is always listening. Yeah.
So if you have any things you want to manifest right now, please say them, because everything that's said, on the show usually comes true. All good things, of course. But yeah, no, I do all the time. Like I've said it, on the show and just in general, even not, on the podcast, but I also believe in that, like just speaking it, just talking out loud and just telling somebody like, hey, I'm going to do this.
Right.
And even if that person's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're crazy. It's like, well, I am crazy, but I'm still
going to try.
I'm still going to do it. Right. And then you do it.
That's right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
It's not that hard.
I know. And I love setting goals, and whether it's like I'm out for like a leisurely like walk or hike, I'm like, okay, well, can I go like, even if it's like 10 more steps than I went the day before, or can I do like another mile than I did last week, or can I now climb this, do this hike because it's more challenging than the last 2 hikes that I did. Although I don't recommend the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. It's really tough.
Okay. Just because it's tough?
No, it's great. Everyone should experience the Pennsylvania
Yeah.
Grand Canyon, but just be prepared, because I think
So were you a little underprepared?
I will have to say my hiking crew and I were doing just, our usual hikes. I don't know that we really prepared for the like uphill switchbacks.
Okay, so you were very confident, right? Like, oh, we got this.
Well, because going down, it's great. It's so pretty. Thank goodness you enjoy it going down. There's like these great waterfalls and vistas, and I mean, it's the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. It's amazing. But yeah, I don't know that anything prepares you for the way back up.
Yeah. So you're a big hiker. You said it earlier too.
Yes.
What is it about hiking that you like so much? On the Stacks will be back in a flash after a word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Elevation Wellness, NEPA's premier wellness center located on Mundy Street in Wilkes-Barre. From pro athletes to busy parents, Elevation Wellness is leading the conversation when it comes to bettering your health through integrative medicine. Founded by NEPA native Louis Helmecke, Elevation Wellness offers physician-formulated and guided treatments that are administered by registered nurses. To learn more about how you can experience the benefits of IV vitamin therapy, multivitamin booster shots, non-invasive aesthetics, or peptide, NAD, red light, and compression therapy, visit elevation-wellness.com or follow them on Instagram at Elevation Wellness NEPA. All On the Stacks listeners will receive 10% off their first purchase with code STACKS at checkout. Call 570-762-9400 or visit elevation-wellness.com to book your appointment today. Elevation Wellness, taking your health to new heights.
My greatest honor is receiving the trust of a family who has lost a loved one through the fault of another, or receiving a call from someone who's been seriously injured and asking me to go to battle on their behalf and to receive the monetary justice they deserve.
To learn more, visit Anzalone Law offices online at anzalonelaw.com. And now we're back on the Stacks.
No, I think it goes back to just being, in tune with like the universe and nature. I just like exercise in general. And sometimes, being busy, I'm one of those people, I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make sure I figure out a way to do it. So sometimes the only time I get to exercise is 5 a.m. And I love my early morning hikes, especially when it's still dark out because you're under the stars. And I don't think there's any experience, at least for me. I think it's my meditation. I put, my AirPods in and just kind of have the music on low, but I'm really more focused on my surroundings and being, how small I must seem to the stars like above me. And it's like a whole like existential experience like every morning.
So you said you do meditate?
Well, I feel like that's my form of meditation, because I come back and I don't know, I think about everything and nothing all at once, and I come back and somehow I'm just like completely renewed.
Like you're ready.
Every day.
You're ready. What's like, I always love to like just know, because a lot of people probably don't know this, right? I always love to know, like somebody like you, in a position, of what you do, right? Or your career, like what your daily routine looks like. I mean, obviously you just touched on it a little bit, but I'm always curious, because, I like, you're a high performer, right? And I love just picking the brain of people who are high performers and how they do it. So, just give me like a quick little rundown of your day and how you prepare for the things that you do.
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost is that walk. The last 2 days, I felt myself because of the rain. I didn't get outside that much. And I was like, oh, this morning, I'm like, I don't care. Unless it's downpouring, I'm going for my walk. So it was misty. It was kind of nice this morning. So after that, I'll come in and I love coffee, but I can't drink a lot because I get very jittery. So I make sure I spend the time in my routine and I make one really good French press cup of coffee before I get in the shower. And I just enjoy that at my place and then, get ready and, head into work. Yeah.
What do you do to wind down?
Oh, goodness. So I have a wonderful fireplace. So since it's, winter here, I feel 10 months out of the year, I have that's, I just like sitting in front of the fireplace. I'm a huge reader. So I'm always reading something. I'm lost if I'm not reading something. I write a lot, whether it's just kind of just notes or journaling or, just articles for myself. I just went to a concert and I kind of jotted down what was great about, I felt like I was writing for Rolling Stone in my own mind.
Yeah, I love it. You said you're always reading something. What are you working on right now? What are you reading?
Oh, so I just read a great book called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Wonderful, wonderful book. I think people shy away from it because I was just talking to some of my neighbors about this because they think it's about gaming, but it's really not. It's just a great story about friendships and how the friendships you form when you're young influence you as you get older. And like we talked about earlier, do you maintain those friendships? When do you sort of outgrow those friendships? Do you ever really outgrow those friendships? And just kind of an overall story of friendship and love. It's wonderful.
What is your favorite type of book? What do you like to read about?
Fiction. I really like fiction because I read so much nonfiction when I was in school, between getting my master's and then going into my doctorate. So I like a good leadership book every once in a while, but because of the whole writing side of me, I feel like fiction especially just makes me such a better writer. I love, I'm the one, I'll underline passages that I love in books just for the way that they're written. I'll dog ear books to go back to inspirational passages. The 8 tattoo on my arm is actually partly inspired because I'm the 8th president and CEO of Johnson College, but it's also inspired by a line in a book. Just basically, it was about a band, David Mitchell book, and they have to make this huge decision about whether or not to kick out somebody in the band, and the guitarist is all moody and staying quiet. So the lead singer finally turns to him and says, "Why are you being so quiet for? What do you think?" And he just very again quietly says, he's "I think we should wait 8 days." Wait 8 days because 8 days gives the universe enough time to reshuffle the deck and deal you another hand. And there's just something about that line that just has always stuck with me. And that's partly. And then when I became the 8th president, I thought, well, how crazy is that? Right?
I've been having chills for the last 30 seconds of you telling the story, and they're not going. It's not going away. It's It is so crazy.
So it's when people are "Oh, you have an 8 on your arm," and I'm "Oh, that 8 has so much meaning."
Yeah, and I believe that. I really when things happen like that, or you see something,
right?
Just physically, you notice something, and then something else happens. It happens.
Right.
It's a real thing.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
it is a real thing.
And I always say all the time, you talked about manifest. I'm yeah, life is just magical if you just let it happen and. Just are paying attention to everything around you and everyone around you. It really can be magical, even when you're going through tough stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I really believe in all of that stuff. And, I think I already told you a little bit about the part of my new tattoos, but the word focus, and you've said it a bunch of times today, but the story with the focus tattoo, we were down in Nashville, right? And doing some podcasts down there. And I didn't know what I was going to get. And it was between that and a few other things. Mm-hmm. And in one of the episodes, now the guy that I was, having a conversation with on the show, his name was Warren Sturry, by the way. again, never met the guy. Like literally just talked to him, showed up, and we just like started doing the podcast, right? Like, so it was probably maybe 75% of the way into the show or maybe more. And for some reason, now again, the night before this, I was texting my wife because I was saying, hey, like me and Eric is one of the producers of the show here, who's gonna make us look really good on camera.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So Eric and I were like, yeah, we're gonna get tattoos while we're in town, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. I'm like, absolutely, right? But we didn't know what we were gonna get. I didn't know what I was gonna get, and I'm like, now I'm scrambling. Like we were on such a tight schedule, we didn't have much time, and it's like, all right, what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? So, but one of like the 3 or 4 ideas that I had was just the word focus. And my wife could like attest this. It's in multiple text, right? And the night before, I was sitting down with this Warren. And then for some reason, during Warren's episode, again, he had no clue of any of this. And he just, for some reason, just brought up the word focus. And whatever we were talking about, I don't remember the exact conversation because it's been some time now. But like, he just kept saying focus. And he was saying, I feel like he was saying it so many times, obviously. But obviously, it was a little bit more in my mind than probably anybody else, obviously. But I just like interrupted. I'm like, Warren, I got to tell you this story. I'm like, I've been debating on a tattoo, and one of the ideas was focus. And like, he was blown away. And I was just like, I said, so I said, everything you just said solidified the tattoo that I'm getting. I was like, that's it. I said, and that was the universe's sign.
Right. And
I really 100% truly believe that. That was the universe's sign to tell me like that's the tattoo that I need to get.
Yeah.
I ended up adding on and getting a whole other thing on there. It's on my arm that I held up earlier. But like that happened.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I'm like, that's it. Like I'm getting it. And I said, I'm either getting it here in Nashville before we leave. I said, or by the time his episode comes out, I said, I will have the tattoo like 100%. Like it's like, I'm doing it. Like no matter what.
And I feel like those signs are all around. I always like, I try to like remind myself when I'm on those morning walks, like if you start the day with an open mind and open heart, like those opportunities will present themselves.
I agree.
To you.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think a lot of times too, and we've all done it, right? It's a lot of times we all try really hard for things to happen.
Yes.
And it's like, if you're trying and looking for it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And I was racking my brain the night before. And I was just like, because I think I just wanted to get a tattoo so bad, right? But I also couldn't decide because again, I'm like, I got these 4 different ideas. And I'm like, I can't pick one because I'm like, it's got to have some, it's got to, like it had meaning already. But I was like, it really, really needs to like just hit home.
Yeah.
Like, or I can't pull the trigger, And especially because like, I was like adamant about getting it there in Nashville. I'm like, I got to get it here. Cause like, it was like part of the trip almost.
Right.
It was like embedded in this trip. Right. Yes. But again, then like, I was like, I stopped thinking about it. And the next day that happens.
Yes.
It's like, you just like going back to like your 8 tattoo, like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
right. And sometimes going back to like, how do I like chill out? It's like, I'll just be sitting like in front of the fire sometimes doing nothing. Like I'll just stare. I kind of live like in a woodsy area and I'm just staring out into the trees and the woods. And yeah, it's amazing what can come to you when you don't think about anything.
Yeah, right. You're thinking about like you said before, you think about everything but nothing.
Right. All at once. And it's like, then the answer is like, they make themselves known.
Yeah. Do you do like are you like a fire pit outside type person too?
I am.
Oh, I love that too. Me too. Yeah. We're not like a super wooded area, but wooded enough that like we have some trees in the back and around us, but the fire pit, like that's like, just sit there and just think or not think.
I know. And I always say to like friends, it's like the truth serum. When you have a group of people sitting in front of like an outdoor fire, the truth starts coming out.
Yeah. And there's nothing like it.
Right.
There's like nothing like it.
I think that's probably why the truth starts coming out.
Right. Yeah. Maybe some other beverage or something too. Who knows? But either way, like I love a good fire.
Yeah.
I could like fall asleep there probably.
Mm-hmm, I could
like
too.
It's just so, to me, it's like so relaxing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. There's just something about you just stare into the
Right.
You just stare into the fire.
Yeah, and there's truth there.
There is.
Telling you.
Fire. Look, we're talking about fire.
I know,
Oh my God, this is like, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's your next tattoo.
It might be that and the 8. That's it. Getting fire 8. Who knows? But no, like it is. It's all that stuff is like, and I think as of like recently, as of the last like couple of months for me, like a lot of these things have just happened so often and more frequent that it's like it's like mind blowing.
Mm-hmm, I know. I write that a lot. Like when I'm journaling, I'm just like, is this real? Like sometimes my life doesn't Like my whole life doesn't seem real.
And like even like that Nashville trip, like I'm not even joking, and people are probably gonna be like this guy's nuts. But like I said this multiple times, and I'm not ashamed to say it like changed my life.
Yeah, that's how I felt about New Orleans. And going back to like music too, like I've never been a big jazz person, but when I was in New Orleans, it was magical. I know I keep using that word, but it was like floating. You're like floating through that city. There's music on every corner. You can't not get into it. It's similar to Nashville with country music. I went to Nashville. I wasn't really into country music, but you get into it. Like if you're just open to it.
And once you experience those things.
You want more of it.
Yeah, I was never one, and I'm still not like a country fan per se, but I never on my own choice have gone to Nashville. Ever. Right. Like because I was like, that's not really my scene, my thing, right? You know, I'm a gangster rap guy, right? Which I ended up running into gangster rap guys. It happened anyway in Nashville. but the point of it is like, it was like I put myself, you know, obviously I got an opportunity to go down there, you know, and meet some musicians, but you know, I never would have gone otherwise. Like it wouldn't have been something that like my wife and I'd be like, oh, let's just go to Nashville, or like, you know, it's like I have no reason to. But like I got there and I'm like, this is like really cool. Yeah. Like it's just like the experience of, like you said, the music and just the people there. By the way, the people there were so cool. Yeah. The people there were so nice. Yeah. Like, not that I didn't think that they would be nice, but like they were like really nice. Yeah. But yeah, same thing. You have that experience, and it's just like, wow, I am grateful that I did this.
Yeah. I was just in Indianapolis, like same thing. It's like, okay, like in Indianapolis. And I went there for work, but while I was there, I snuck in a concert. got to see the Gaslight Anthem, which is one of my favorite bands. And the opening band ended up being from Philly. And then they're just outside hanging out afterwards. And then I met a concert buddy there. Shout out to Dustin. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go tell them I'm from Scranton, because it's like a Pennsylvania thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I ran over and they were so excited that I came really over and introduced myself and said something.
Yeah. And you never know like where that conversation is going to lead.
Right.
And those things, like it's all the time. It's just like, because you were there, I mean, those things happen. And like the relationships that like are probably going to come for that, like you may not even realize yet, but like something will come of it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like I know we're really like nailing this home here with this universe thing. Like Doug's probably sick of hearing it already.
It's like these two.
Yeah. Right. But no, it's like, it's so true. It's just like and back to what you said earlier about you say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Same thing. You know, I mean, maybe to the point that maybe I overcommit myself a little bit sometimes.
Right. I'm the same way. Yeah.
But like at the same time, like I don't like missing opportunities, and I just, you know, I think when you say yes to more things, even if you say yes, then you end up failing a little bit. Like, so what? That you were meant to fail at. Like it was meant to happen. But I think saying yes to everything and figuring it out later, is like everybody I think should have that mentality.
Right. And I always ask, like, did you fail or did it just not go as you anticipated?
It was just a lesson.
It was just right.
Yeah. It was just a lesson. Like I don't really look at it, like, even though we might use the word failure. Yeah. It's just a learning, like, live lesson.
Yeah. And it's just like building on strengths, right? You know, I think it was, you know, Peter Drucker who had like the great quote, like when you focus, and this is more specific to work, but when you focus on strengths, you know, the weaknesses become irrelevant. And I think it's like such a profound quote. It's like, well, yeah, that it's not as if you don't have any weaknesses, but if your strengths focus, like, what else is there?
Yeah. Do you are you a believer in just like doubling, tripling down on your strengths?
Yes.
And because a lot of people would say like, oh no, like you should try to be better at the things that you're not good at so you can be better at them.
Yeah.
And I disagree with that. Like
yeah,
I think we're
yeah. I'm more like, again, I studied like organizational development in my master's. So I became a big fan of Peter Drucker, and that really was his book on management. It's like, it's really thick. But it's so great. Again, I still keep it today. It's completely dog-eared and underlined and worn out. But that quote always sticks with me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like, it is. It's like, it's so true. You know, it's all that stuff is just, I love it. Like, I love it because again, I'm the type of person, same thing too. It's like, if you're really good at something and you find that, just 10x it.
Right.
Just 10x it because
go for
like
it.
You said,
the
things that like you're not good at, like you'll be able to find somebody else to fill that void for you. Like
yes.
why? And I've done this so many times. Like I finally got myself a bookkeeper recently. Like, like I've just been banging my head against the wall come tax time. And I'm just like, you know, everything, everything lines up, but it's just like, I'm not good at that.
Right.
And for so long, I was just like, I don't know why, but I just wouldn't fix the problem.
Right.
I just kept saying I'll figure it out. I'll get a little bit better at it. I'll ask somebody to help me with it. And it's just like, forget that.
Yeah.
Just hire the professional to do it.
Right.
And just go focus back on what you're good at.
You're good
right. And it's like,
then everybody wins and everyone's happy.
Exactly. Now it's like I have peace.
Right.
I have peace. Up until recently, I didn't have peace in the in the bookkeeping world of all this.
Yeah.
In OTS financial world, but yeah, it's one of those things. Like, again, I just did that myself. Like, it's just like, oh my God, like I finally I knew I wasn't good at it. It wasn't like a secret, I willingly admit it all the time. Like I literally just filed my taxes it's a month ago.
Yeah.
Just because I just didn't have all the stuff put together to be able to do it. So
right.
that's literally the only reason, because I'm just like, I just don't want to do that. I don't like doing that, right? You just want to do the things that you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, that's a bad attitude. Like, no, it's not. Like, you need to just focus and do what you're best at.
Right. And then you can bring out the strengths in others. And then I'm a big believer in teamwork and the strength in the collective, right? So again, I'm not good at everything, but I know, if I surround myself with the right people, then collectively we can be awesome.
I think that's one of the greatest leadership traits.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely building a teamwork, cultivating that. Again, it's all about relationships. I think that's probably, whenever people ask me, well, what do you think, the top qualities are of a leader? And I'm like, well, definitely empathy and just understanding that, again, it's not, we can all have sympathy. We've all been through things that, we have in common, but it's really those rare times. How many people can really say I don't have anything in common with this person, but I'm just for one moment going to try to see it from their point of view. It doesn't mean you have to agree. It doesn't mean you have to change your own opinion, but I find that, especially in today's day and age, again, I don't know if it's social media, but I just find that more and more people are just forgetting about that. I feel like it gets talked about a lot, but people don't take the time to really cultivate that skill and understand what empathy really is.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
It really is. Because I feel like you really have to remove yourself and put yourself in their position.
Right.
And, maybe obviously some people are better at it than others. I feel like I'm pretty good at it myself, but I think that's why I connect so well with people, and I can connect with anyone on any level.
Right.
And I think it's because I have the empathy. Right now I'm sitting, across the table from, a president of a college. A few weeks ago in Nashville, I was sitting across a table with a actual gangbanger. Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation just about even business and music and life and just everything. It's right. And I think if you can empathize with people and that's the ultimate connection, I feel like.
Yes.
And by doing that, it just opens the door for these opportunities.
Right.
It's and I feel like I can put myself in any position, anywhere, at any time, and just be able to connect with that person on anything.
Right.
You'll find a common ground, something.
Yeah.
There's
you start
something.
talking, yeah.
There's just something. I mean, obviously you and I, tattoos and just everything. I mean, there's a million things. There's a
right.
we can sit here for probably 4 hours at least and go on and on because we just discovered, things about each other. And it's
right.
that's I just feel like that's so important, and a lot of people aren't present enough.
Yes. And I think curiosity, I think, is underrated. I'm a big Ted Lasso fan. So, I mean, that quote he says about be curious, not judgmental. It's so simple. And I feel like now, because of this show, people might think it's trite, but it's so true. Just be curious. I try to instill that in my daughter. I said, when you don't know what else to do when you meet somebody, just start asking questions. Just, even if they give one word answers, just start asking questions. Be genuinely curious about that other person.
That's what I would say. I mean, this is literally, that's what I do.
Right.
That's literally what I do. That is, I just ask people. But I am also I'm a very curious person, and I learn a lot doing all this. I get a lesson from somebody every single week. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or a therapy session, however we want to look at it. Depends on right.
But a little existential today.
Right. Yeah. But it is. You just you just ask questions and. You don't know where things are going to go. And it's just if
right.
you don't know what you want to do, where you want to go, whatever, just talk to somebody. Talk to somebody you wouldn't ever think you would talk to.
Right.
And you'd be surprised.
I know. My daughter, she makes fun of me because she's like, oh, you'll go on a plane ride and you'll know the person's whole life story. The minute you walk up the plan?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, because it's interesting. Like people are so fascinating.
They are.
And interesting. And like you said, you never know where it can lead.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, you know, even myself included, everybody says like, oh, well, I'm not interested. No one wants to hear what I have to say. And that's not true.
Right.
Like, it's not true. Like, everybody's always like, oh, well, I don't have a story. Oh, my thing's boring or whatever. And it's like, no, it's actually probably very interesting to the other person because they don't know. And like, once you start telling them, then I think people would be pleasantly surprised. Be like, oh wow, that's like super interesting. Like, tell me more. Like, you know, like, what else is it that you're doing? What else is it that you're working on? Like, I want to know more.
And how much that they can relate. Because again, it goes back to the empathy. We all have stuff in common.
Yeah. So, talk to me about what's going on campus. I know there's a lot of, now we're kind of just switching gears here, but, yeah, we're off in the universe somewhere, you and I, for the last hour. But all good. That's right. Campfire, you know, who knows? But yeah, so you know, what are some things that are going on campus?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, that alum, Ideal Saldi, he donated $1 million. So we are building a new, what we call our gateway building at the front of campus. And really, it welcomes everyone to that part of Scranton. So you come off I-81, exit 190, and you actually cross, like, you know, back under I-81, the bridge there, and it's one of the first buildings that people are going to see. So we really wanted it to be a different kind of design, and it is. Architecturally, it's absolutely beautiful, very fitting of Ideal's name. So, you know, thanks to his generosity in the gift he provided, we are calling it like Ideal Saldi Hall. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be ready. So classes will start January 2024. In there, and we'll, you know, have some offices, some labs. So my goal with that building was that prospective students could begin with the end in mind. So when they walk into that building, there's going to be industry partner banners hanging, so they can look up and say, oh my gosh, like someday, like I could work for, you know, Toby Hanna or Kentworth of Pennsylvania or Simplex Homes or, you know, Fastenal or any one of the many industry partners that we have. But then also there's sort of floor to ceiling, like windows in the lab spaces, so people can see.
I love that.
Yeah, prospective students can see in and see the students creating and building and making. So we're really excited about that.
Really cool. So, you know, one other thing, like around technical jobs, I feel like there's a lot of, I don't want to say unknown, but just, you know, I'll say like my generation. So like I went to college, right? And you're a president of a college, but like, you know, I'll say like when I was in school, like if you know, didn't want to go to college, and the whole thing about either technical or trade jobs, it was like that was almost like looked down upon in a way, and like that's like a big hot topic, and there's so much what is it, the need, there's a need for these jobs right now, and very good careers, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Very good careers.
Very good salaries.
Yeah, right. That's
sometimes
too. Bonus.
I rethink my whole life when I talk to our alumni.
Yeah, geez, I you know, I went the wrong path here.
Yeah.
Right? So, but like, there's probably a lot of myths, right? Can we bust some of those myths?
Sure. Yeah. So there is, and I will say it has changed. You know, I've been at the college now a total of 16 years. Just finished my 5th as president and CEO, and I will say the perception is finally starting to change. But there definitely, I think, sometimes can be that misconception that, especially when it comes to like manufacturing, or if you're an, you know, auto technician or, you know, a truck technician, that, you know, you're walking into these employers and I call them like the 3 Ds. The places are going to be dingy, dark, and dangerous. And it couldn't be like farther from the truth. You know, I mean, everything is so high tech. There's so much math involved in our technical programs, very just math heavy, a lot of critical thinking, a lot of like just troubleshooting skills that are needed, because the way that you might fix that might not be the way that I fix it. So again, how do you build like that team of students, and, you know, they help each other like figure it out. So I think, you know, it's come, like technical education has just come so far, and it's really some of the most high tech equipment. We're talking automation and robotics and, you know, just top of the line equipment that the students get to work on.
It's actually cool stuff.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
You walk into these labs, and like I said, I'm blown away.
Yeah. What about some of the other programs? Can you tell me just a little bit? Like, what can people expect if people want to know more?
Sure.
What are you guys known for?
Yeah. So I would say, so we have everything from, probably our 2 biggest programs right now are electrical construction technology and HVAC, so heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. But we have everything from health science programs like veterinary nursing and radiologic technology, biomedical equipment technology. So basically they work on the equipment that saves our lives, which is pretty profound.
Kind of important.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, a very strong division of transportation programs from auto to diesel, and our, latest, we have heavy equipment, and then also aviation technology, which we actually run entirely at the airport, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Airport.
What's the aviation program? Like,
Yeah.
what is it?
So they learn everything. They learn how from the nose to the tail and everything in between, how to diagnose problems and fix the planes.
Sounds complicated. Not for me, but it sounds cool. A little complicated, but again, it's like one of those things that like I can appreciate, because like that's something like, I mean, yeah, even though I never tried it, and people are like, oh, well, you don't know what makes you try it. Like,
right.
No, I know it's not going to work for me, right? Like, that's not my skill set. But, like
Right.
those are the things that like that I think that, when you get on a plane or something, like you don't think about. And it's like
Right.
those people are making you fly and
Safe
all
and
that stuff.
yeah.
All that stuff. Like there's so much, again, back to the whole behind the scenes thing. They're like, these things need to happen. These people need to be there. And like, you're part of it.
Right.
Like-
yeah. And the students, I mean, it's just and it comes back to our alumni are everywhere. I like to say that we add to the brain gain, not the brain drain, because our students, come from this area. They're very proud to work on projects in this area and for companies in this area. We're very big on, I like to say that industry is our students' campus. So you can pretty much go anywhere around here to like one of the small companies, mid-sized companies, big companies, and our students are there taking care of your animals, of your cars, of your trucks, of, doing your wiring, your HVAC systems, everything. And it all comes back to our students, but they really fuel the local economy, and we're big on community service too. So it's great because, again, they're from here. They can be literally driving in the car with their family and point to a house and say, my classmates and I built that house for that veteran who didn't have any housing. And it's just, they inspire me every day.
Yeah, that's wild. Do you have any other stories kind of around that you might be able to share?
Oh, there's so many.
I know there's a lot. I know there's probably a million, but
yeah. And we have another alum. He works for Fastenal during the day, but he actually also like welds and creates his own like a metal artwork. It's called Metal Relic.
There you go,
shout
Doug.
out to Jeremy.
Doug, there's your. We were talking earlier about sign. There you go. Sorry, go on ahead. I rudely interrupted there just to tell Doug something.
That's okay. So again, he's got those awesome like technical skills, and he's also artistic as well because it's artwork and it's amazing. So
That is cool.
yeah,
I got to check this out.
it's really cool.
Very cool. Anything else new coming up, like in the maybe next couple months, like what, like next year, like what else?
So with the last couple of months, we opened our first satellite campus in Hazleton. So we have a few programs running down there. We also, for the first time, started in CDL program, so that is running in Hazleton as well. So we're very excited to be there. It's such a great community. So shout out to everyone in Hazleton because they couldn't be nicer, and especially just helping us get up and running and getting to know the community. And we're right in the Humboldt Industrial Park, so right in the heart of all the industry partners.
Yeah,
that are
right there.
So yeah, so you can come to the college and start working.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Anything? What else? How can our listeners find you online? If somebody questions anything, obviously there's a million different things, but
questioning me,
question you if they want to.
There's a hotline for that,
right?
people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they want to know what your next pair of wingtip shoes, like what you're going to wear tomorrow. Well, we can call for that. But no, where do people need to go?
So website johnson.edu, and we're everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Johnson College.
You'll find it. You're there.
That's right.
Yeah. No, this has been really cool, and this is like the hardest question of the whole show. I had to wait all the way till now. Everybody wants to know too. I mean, because I want to know like what you're
sweating.
Ready? What's going to be your next tattoo?
Oh, okay. So that's going to go.
Oh, you do know? You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have them. Yeah. So it's going to go like down like the lower like part of my collarbone here, and it's going to be a star inside a star. It's like the outline of a star inside the outline of a star.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why? If not, it's okay. Like I understand.
Again, it's just sort of like the power of the universe. And again, every morning I look up and I see those stars, and I feel really, really small, which is a good.
Hey, you said that earlier.
Good
You
feeling.
said that earlier in the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like it reminds you, just like stay humble, stay grounded. Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to get it now because you said it on the show. So like, there's no backing out. You know, like that's it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't know what my next one's gonna be, but I'm like already thinking. You know, I'm already thinking.
Yeah. It should be headphones. Really
Yeah, that was part of original. Like when I got these other couple just a few weeks ago, I was that was like a consideration somehow in there some way. You know. So who knows?
Yeah.
That could still happen. I don't know. I don't know, but like it'll just come to me. I know it will. You know. And you know, who knows? After this, maybe I'll be getting a tattoo tomorrow.
That's right.
Like it just like literally like
know.
when I got these, I ended up. And by the way, I don't know if I said it earlier, but I ended up getting the tattoos here in Wilkes-Barre. Like when I got back, because like we ran out of time.
Yeah.
But it worked out for a reason, because like even though I knew the focus, I was like, okay, I'm definitely getting that. But then I was like, it's very simple. I'm also like, I do like simple things, but I was like, I want something else too. Like I want like something a little bit more than just that too. So I was still kind of like, all right, I'm definitely sold on focus, but it's like, maybe I'll get a little something more now too. Cause now I had the itch to like, I want more now, right? I'm addicted to it, right?
That's what happens.
Yeah. So but then the day we got home, like literally like, we got home the next day. Again, this other part just came to me, and I just like looked it up online. I just like kind of like just drew a really poor picture and sent it to the tattoo artist, and just said, like, yo, dude, like this is what I want. I'm like, I need it now. He's like, all right, let's do it. You know. But again, it just like came to me. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's really cool. Like I love that, because the whole thing with you, like you said, with the stars and universe, like you were saying that earlier.
Yeah.
And now like it really solidifies it.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah. So now everybody thinks that like we're like on some other planet.
Right.
We'll let Doug get up from his chair now.
That's right.
Doug isn't.
We'll allow him.
Yeah. Doug is in timeout over there. We put him in the corner. Told him he wasn't allowed.
No one puts Doug in the corner. I got to say that.
Yeah. So yeah, Doug wasn't allowed to look at us or anything.
That's
we made it.
Look away.
Yeah,
Just look away.
Doug, do not make eye contact, Doug. No, but thank you, and thank you to Doug. Honestly, like this was a great experience, and I'm glad we connected. Like I said, it's been some time in the making to have us sit down together to talk about this. So you're doing some amazing things at the school, and I love to see all this stuff happening in this area, because I'm a big just believer in good people doing good things in this area, and everything that you guys do with the programs and everything. Like you literally like you're teaching people and you're teaching them to stay here.
Yes.
That's I think the other big thing.
And value, like where like they come from. Like that's like a big piece of it too.
The whole thing is like a full 360 thing. Like it really is. Like it's I love to see it. I love to hear it. I love hearing those stories. I mean, it's incredible. It really is. And obviously like I didn't know this stuff. I didn't know as much about Johnson College as I did. Literally. No, Doug told me a lot of stuff too. Doug has the memory. I don't even know what to say, but Doug's got the greatest memory. Doug knows a lot of stuff.
And Doug knows a lot of people. I have to tell this because it's he's got nothing on 6 degrees of like Kevin Bacon. It's like 2 degrees of Doug Cook, because he will, going back to those connections, he will find, you name somebody in this area and he will find within 2 connections. I
love this. So between the two of you, you don't have to say it right now, but you guys can help me find my next couple podcast guests.
Yes.
Because all my, and listen, like this is true. Like all my really good guests come from people that are like our recommended or our listeners, which Doug was a listener, Doug wasn't previously on the show, but I know what's going to happen after this. You guys are going to go tell everybody how awesome I am, because I'm so super awesome, right? But no, that's how I get all of my best guests. It's from people like you and Doug, and I'm grateful for that, because it makes the show so much better. Yeah. And like there's a story and a whole thing of just how we're even sitting here, and again, it all dates back to like the actual show itself brought you here,
right?
Like you know what I mean, like through Doug listening and people he knew that were on. It's like, again, it's the universe.
That's right.
It brought this whole thing together.
That's right. Listen, people, always listen to the universe. Open heart, open mind. Listen.
That's it. All right, Dr. Katie Leonard on the Stacks Podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me.
A pleasure. Thank you.
If you want to see more On the Stacks content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/onthestackspodcast or search the hashtag OnTheStacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.